The Crosstrek is the best-selling Subaru in North America, and sales are definitely not going to slow down with the introduction of this. This is the new Crosstrek Wilderness. Joining the likes of the Forester and Outback Wilderness, the difference with this Crosstrek is this is the very top trim. It builds off of the Limited. The Wilderness is not just a cosmetic package, but it really is a trim for those who may be a little bit more on the adventurous side, maybe seeking something more capable off the beaten path. Let's have a look at some of the goodies you get with this new Wilderness. First off, of course, it's the color. The geyser blue, it is just synonymous with Subaru, and it's only available in this Wilderness trim. You can also get other colors, but if you want pure red, you're gonna have to go into the Limited. Styling, you get that hexagonal grille, but you get black matte inserts. You get different front and rear bumpers, hexagonal LED driving lamps, you have LED headlamps, an anti-glare hood decal. Instead of the 18-inch wheels you get on the Limited, you get 17-inch black wheels with Yokohama Geolandar all-terrain tires. This is standard. And of course you get lots of chunky, rugged Wilderness cladding on the wheel wells and on the rocker panels. Size-wise, it's basically the same. However, the wheelbase is actually 5 millimeters shorter than the other Crosstreks. It's a little bit wider and a little bit taller. The roof rails are rated to handle up to 700 pounds of static load, which makes it the perfect candidate for any type of sports gear or even a roof tent. Of course, there's plenty of Wilderness badging, and you can't miss all the bronze or gold accents. Open up the manual hatch and you're greeted with a standard Wilderness cargo tray to contain all that dirty stuff you throw in. Under the floor, you'll find a temporary spare tire, and unique to the Wilderness is a tailgate mounted LED lamp. For some reason, with the seats folded down, the Wilderness gets an additional 6 liters of space over the Crosstrek. I'm not sure why, I'm thinking maybe the thickness of the seat foam. The Wilderness shares the same power plant as the Limited and the Onyx, which is the larger, more powerful 2.5 liter boxer engine. That puts out 182 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. That is also running on regular 87 octane, by the way, which is great, especially with the price of gas these days. Power is going through Subaru's Lineartronic CVT, and you know, just like their other products, it's actually very good. A lot of times you may not even know that you're driving a CVT. Sure, there is, when you put your foot down, there's a slight delay and a little bit of the whine, but it really does mimic and feel like a regular conventional automatic transmission. You do have paddle shifters here, and it'll simulate up to 8 gears. So when I'm gearing down, you can see on the tachometer the RPMs are going up as well. It changes gears fairly quick for a CVT, for sure. Now, regardless of whatever trim you get, all Crosstreks come standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive, and that's a big bonus, whether you want it for handling or, of course, for inclement weather. And up north in Canada here, it does come in handy for snow as well. On the Limited and on this Wilderness, you do get the dual function X mode, and that actually adds even more capability to the vehicle when you're going off-road for deep mud or for snow, for instance. So it changes all the programming. You also have 2 buttons on the steering wheel, the S and the I, and that is for changing the mapping of your transmission as well. One thing I really noticed with this vehicle was how agile it was. It feels very small when you're driving it. And I looked at the specs, and for some reason, this actually has a shorter turning radius. Maybe it's because of that shorter wheelbase. But yeah, you can, the turning radius is like 8 inches shorter, which is great, not only for maneuvering in parking lots in the mall and schools, but also when you're on the trail. Now, speaking of off-road, you've seen some off-road clips here. We drove that Outback Wilderness, and I couldn't believe the type of terrain that it was conquering. Seriously, it was truly amazing. And this is going to handle everything probably and more, mainly because you have a very similar ground clearance. This is 9.3 inches of ground clearance. It is about a half inch higher for more ground clearance than the regular Crosstrek. You have a beefed up suspension on here. You also have a shorter wheelbase, making it more agile in the trails. Protection wise, you have more armor, you have a skid plate in the front to protect all the things underneath. And having these 17-inch wheels with the all-terrain tires not only makes it more capable off-road, but on-road, having that extra sidewall really cushions you from a lot of the road imperfections for sure. It is definitely a nicer ride for a shorter wheelbase vehicle. Approach angle has been increased from 18 to 20 degrees and departure from 30 to 33 degrees. We talked about the 700 pounds of static loading on those roof rails if you want to put a roof tent or something, but what if you want to tow with your Wilderness? Well, the standard Crosstrek is rated for 1,500 pounds. This really jacks it up a lot because this actually has a higher output radiator as well as a transmission cooler, and you actually get 3,500 pounds of maximum towing capacity on this Wilderness. One other thing we didn't mention also on this CVT, the final ratio is a little bit different. It's geared a little bit lower, and that's also going to help if you're off-roading, to maximize all that torque nice and low. Onto the inside, remember this is the top of the line. It does look very good, especially with all the bronze accents. You have it on the steering wheel, you have the bronze stitching, which I love, on the door panels, on the seats, which are made out of soft touch material, so it's kind of like an artificial kind of leather type of vinyl, and that's going to be really handy and durable for cleaning up. Maybe you're going hiking or dirt biking or whatever. If you're dirty, it's going to be easy to wipe these up and get them nice and clean. They're also heated. We have a heated steering wheel. This is all standard. We have a standard 11.6 inch media display that comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I'm not sure if that's wireless or not, but CarPlay definitely is. A lot of real estate on this, and what I like about it is you do still have tactile buttons for the important things, like your volume control. You do have buttons for raising or lowering your climate control, and even your heated seats. There's no menu or anything. They're the good old switches. So wherever you leave them, that's where it's going to start up, which is very convenient as well. In the middle, we have analog gauges with a small display in the center, and even the displays are encircled with bronze as well. We get a power sunroof, 10-way power adjustable driver's seat. The passenger seat is manual, and you do get the upgraded 10-speaker Harman Kardon audio system on the interior here. Another thing that comes standard on all Crosstreks is Subaru's latest EyeSight system. You can see the 3 cameras there, and that gives you things like adaptive cruise control. You get pre-collision. You also get automatic emergency steering on all the trims except for the base convenience. One thing to be aware of is you do have auto start stop. We are stopped right now and the engine is stopped, but when you do start up, it's not the smoothest transition. I've definitely driven vehicles that are smoother than that, but it's not a big deal. Just be aware of that. Subaru has done a great job with the Crosstrek lineup. They've made sure that there is a Crosstrek for any buyer out there. Whether you want something that's got all the capability, the most in the Wilderness here, or you want something a little bit more on the basic side, like the convenience with 38 horsepower less. But regardless, you still get symmetrical all-wheel drive on all Crosstreks. You get EyeSight standard on all Crosstreks, so they're all very well equipped. But which one would you get? Now, for me, if I was in the market for a higher trimmed Crosstrek, for instance, maybe a limited over this, I would lean a little bit more toward this, but it all depends what your needs are. You see, if you go for the limited, you actually get leather seats and you get navigation. Navi's not a big deal for me because I still mainly use CarPlay anyways, but the leather is definitely a nice touch, and it's $1,000 less. So you save yourself $1,000, that's pretty good. But if you want more capability, including, remember, this does have increased towing capability, and you have the better off-road capability of this. And for me, I think the looks, I think it looks really good. If I were to order one, I would actually get it exactly like this in the geyser blue with those bronze accents. I think it looks fabulous. And yeah, but if you don't need all that, just go for something mid-trim. So anyways, what do you think of the entire Wilderness lineup, whether it's Crosstrek, Forester, or Outback? Do you think you would buy it? Leave a comment below. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye.